Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I am really excited today because I'm going to get these two viburnum plants and plant them in my garden. They are called Yardline Viburnum. It is a proven winner's brand of viburnum. And what's really cool about these is that their growth habit is a very narrow type. So they will grow 3 to 4 feet wide, but they will get 6 to 12 feet tall, which is perfect for putting like in between my windows of the garage. And if you saw my last video, you'll know that there's a reason I've got a replacement plant for the Blue Arrow Junipers. They died. And so these are a completely different species of plant, which means that they're going to have different growing capabilities as well as different moisture levels that they want to have. So I think these are going to do a lot better in this particular location. And one of the things I really like about this is just the glossy, broad leaves. I think they just look really cool. They do flower in the springtime. I don't have any flowers on it, obviously, because we're doing this right now at the beginning of August, kind of getting a pre-start before fall planting and stuff goes. After I get them in the ground, they are going to need to be kept moist for quite some time so they can get established. Probably by late fall, they'll be good to go throughout the winter time, and then in the spring, they will be fine on their own. They are drought tolerant once they are established. As far as sunshine goes, you're going to want 6 or more hours for the ideal conditions, but they are tolerable of shade. So you could possibly have less than 4 hours of sunlight and be able to grow these. Obviously, their leaf growth and their structure is going to be a little slower in growing than, say, in a full sun location. They are best grown in zones 7 through 9. I'm not sure what the cold hardiness is beyond zone 7, if it might be tolerable or not. Sometimes you can cheat a zone. We are in a zone 7 area, so they should do fine right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. I'm going to show you the location where I'm planting them again, or not again for the first time for these, but a new plant in that location, and then we'll go from there. So you can see here, this is one of the locations for one of them, and then the other one will go between those other 2 windows right there in our front garden area. This gets full sun almost all day through the most intense heat of the day. So this will be a good test and see how well Yardline does. This particular location, we've probably got about 8 feet or so between those windows. We'll plant them dead center in the middle on each of those spots and make sure that we're keeping far enough away from the house that the drip line of the roof doesn't impact moisture coming down and rain. We want to make sure that these are getting plenty of water for what they need. This site is very well drained. It does not stay wet at all. So we want to make sure that it's got plenty of moisture so it can grow well. So you can see I've already done some soil prep, and there's a really important reason. If you see that grass-like stuff that's growing right there around my boxwood, that is nut sedge, and nut sedge is just a really, really tough to remove plant. So I've gone through with my shovel and I've dug up as much of it as I can around the planting area. I'm going to go through and dig up the rest of that stuff later, but nut sedge is one of those things that if you start pulling it, it snaps, and then it creates new offshoots everywhere it snaps at. So it's really kind of an insidious, invasive type of plant, especially when you get it among plants that you want to preserve, because it makes it difficult. You can't come in and just spray it down. You've got to mechanically remove that, or else you're risking your other plants that are nearby. So anyway, I've dug this area here. You can see I've got a pretty good location cleared out. Think of it like double digging a garden bed. I pretty much dug it up and then went through and pulled any kind of roots that I could. I've probably missed a few things, and there will probably be more nut sedge coming back, but for now we've got a good starting spot, and I'll just have to keep on top of things. So I've gone ahead and I've centered the plant on the wall based on where the pot is over here. I just basically counted how many bricks I had between the windows and went dead center into those bricks right there based on the pot. And we're roughly 3.5 to 4 feet out from the wall, which should give us enough room to be out beyond the drip edge of the house. And this is where we're going to dig the hole. I pushed that a little further than the Blue Arrow Junipers were. I think they were about right here. So I'm coming out like an extra foot to try to get a little better moisture area here. And these will spread a little bit, so some of the plants around here may need to be moved around eventually, but for now we should be okay. And as you can see, I've got some nut sedge even popping up still, right here. And so I'll move those out. I may dig the hole a little wider so I can get to them better. But this is nut sedge, and this is what it does. It's got all these little roots and stuff that spread out, and it just kind of grows through those runners. Definitely not a fun plant to remove from your garden. So I'm going to leave this up a little higher and then mound up around the plant. I anticipate it sinking down a little bit into the hole through watering and soil leveling. And wow. Okay, we've got a plant here that has gotten a lot of roots, and it really probably should have been in a bigger pot to begin with. But, you know, that would have been more expensive, but we can make do with this. Also, you'll note there's a couple volunteers here. These are some sycamores. We're just going to pull them out. We've got lots of sycamores on our property, so if I didn't have any, I'd be tempted to go ahead and pot that one up right there and add a sycamore tree. Those are really beautiful trees. So what I'm going to do here on these roots is I'm going to take a knife out and I'm going to cut the roots a little bit, just kind of giving them a slight scoring so that the roots can then regenerate going outward. That should probably be good enough. Don't have to do a whole lot, but enough that it roughs it up a bit, and then the roots start to grow outward, so it's not going to be pot bound. Pot bound plants are not great to do. All right, so we'll go ahead and get that centered on the hole there. Looks good, and so I'm going to go ahead and then backfill. And I'm going to try to get enough soil up there to get level with the top of where it was in the pot. So which means it'll probably have a little bit of a taper, somewhat of a mound happening around it. We've got plenty of soil to use because I've been digging out this spot and everything's gotten unleveled. So there we go. Let's go ahead and give it some water. You can see here that the soil is getting washed away a little bit. I'm going to come back and tuck that back around the plant. And then we're going to put a little bit of mulch around the bottom of it to help keep that, keep the water in the soil and slow down its evaporation a bit. And this will probably need watered daily for quite a while until it's nice and established. Unless, of course, it rains really good. And I'm seeing a piece of Johnson grass here that we need to get rid of. That's another very invasive plant I love to remove. So here I've put some mulch around it. I made sure to keep the mulch away from the crown of the plant so that there's a visual area that I can inspect and look for potential vole or mouse damage around here. We do have a lot of those critters that like to munch down on our plants, so we do have to keep a watchful eye on that. It also prevents possible fungal issues from happening right here at the crown of the plant. And the crown is just that little spot right above the roots, right where it's starting to grow from the top of the plant. This makes sense if it's called a crown, right? And so here's the second one that I planted in exactly the same way as I did the first one. You can see I already got the mulch there and around. And that is a Clara mum right there, which is a beautiful mum that blooms in the fall. For some weird reason, it decided it was going to shoot up a few blooms this year early, but soon it's going to be covered in a bunch of beautiful pink blooms right next to it, which should be a really cool contrast to the nice, dark, glossy leaves. So how are these viburnums going to do in my Tennessee garden? I am very hopeful that they're going to do really, really well. I've had a lot of great experiences with viburnums in the garden. I've rarely ever had any issues with viburnum plants. In fact, in this garden bed, I've got an Onondaga viburnum right over there and then a Shasta viburnum over here. They're a little different than these viburnums because they are deciduous and Yardline is an evergreen. But evergreen is exactly what I was looking for this space. I wanted that nice glossy evergreen leaf to give some winter interest. This particular plant is perfect for those narrow spaces that you need to fit it in between the 3 and 6 foot range. It grows 12 feet tall, like we've said before. So this could also make a really good privacy screen too. So if you're planting them along a area, maybe by a poolside or something like that, where you want some privacy, it could do really well in those locations. So I'm very hopeful that this plant is going to be an amazing addition to our garden. Keep in mind, it does bloom on the old wood. So if you are wanting to get flowers from it, make sure that you're not pruning at the wrong time of the year. Probably the best time to prune it is after it's bloomed. But if you do prune off the flowers, you won't get the berries, which could be another great feature of this viburnum. You probably need to have some sort of a cross-pollinating viburnum type that's in a similar species range in order to get those berries though. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, this is just another cool plant. I am really looking forward to seeing how this does. There's no guarantees because we're dealing with living things and stuff happens, but I think it's going to do really well. So I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I appreciate you watching, and hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.